Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 13 of the Motherdrive. And this episode, we are focusing on talking about what it looks like to level up in your business. And I am here with Nadya Ramos, who is a wonderful entrepreneur. And I'm really excited to have this interview with her because she has just recently, in the last little while, leveled up her business. And I'm really excited to talk about what that journey looked like for her because, as we all know, that is not always easy. My name is Kate Matthews. For those of you who don't know, I'm the host of the Motherdrive, and I do this podcast from my car, which is where I spend the most of my time as a mom. So today, like I said, our guest is Nadya Ramos. Nadya is a mom of one. She has an amazing 5-year-old little boy named Noah. And she runs her own marketing business. She helps entrepreneurs establish trust and authority online. And she's helped over 30 clients strengthen their position and presence online. She's a fractional CMO, which is super cool. We're going to talk about that later. She's a brand strategist and a marketing consultant with over a decade of experience in marketing and communications. She has a master's in strategic communications from Rowan University. So Nadya, here we are. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Tell me a little bit about how you got started on your journey as an entrepreneur and what made you decide to take the leap.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Katie, for having me.
You are most welcome.
And I love that we're doing this from the car because we were talking a little bit earlier about how we get a lot of things done in the car, especially with little ones. So how did I get started? I like to say that I was kicked in the butt. God kind of like just lit a fire under my behind. And in the middle of the pandemic, after working for many, many years in corporate in marketing, I found myself getting fired on the spot. It was August 2020. I was let go after building a team, after introducing to the company innovative marketing ideas to work with influencers, build community, up engagement online. I was let go. I went home that day and I had to make a decision. I decided to first accept the fact that I enjoy working hard. I'm more comfortable saying that out loud. Because I'm a woman and because I'm a mom, I think sometimes people don't fully understand what I mean when I say that. I don't mean that I love work more than I love motherhood. I just mean that I really do enjoy working hard because I have a plan. I have a long-term vision for my life. And in order to get me there, I need to do a couple things now that I'm in my mid-30s. So I decided if I'm going to work this damn hard, it's going to be for myself. And
Amen.
And it's going to be so that I can have also more flexibility so that I can decide who I work with and what opportunities I say yes to and the ones that I turn down. So that's why I decided in 2020 to go full time on my own. And I took on my first client and haven't looked back.
So when you first started, you got let go and then you're sort of like, okay, I'm making this decision. I'm going all in on me. And now what? Where are we going to look for our clients? How did that look for you? Because that's got to be scary. I mean, I'm sure that all of our listeners that are moms, that are entrepreneurs can connect with that, or for those mothers out there who are looking to start their own journey.
Definitely scary. If anyone tells you otherwise, I don't know. They are made out of rock and stone. Definitely a scary place to be. But I'll tell you what I did. In marketing, there's something called the low-hanging fruit. So if you think of an apple tree, the apples on the bottom are within reach. Even if you need a ladder to reach them, the ladder doesn't have to be as tall as to reach the apples, right? And so the low-hanging fruit is this concept of first tap into the people that you already know and who already know, like, and trust you as a person first. Tap into those people. They might not be your clients, but chances are they know people who know people who know people who could be your clients. And that's exactly what I did. I reached out to not only my friends and some of my family who knew people with businesses, but I also tapped into the people that I had worked with in the past, my colleagues. my network essentially. And I just really made a good job of, I did a good job of just spreading the word about this is what I'm doing now. I'm transitioning away from working corporate to launching my own business. And I made a really big deal out of it. I got hats done with my logo. I sent hats to pretty much everybody and their mom. I spent like $2,000 on these hats and with my logo. And I was just giving them out to people who knew, liked, and trusted me. And that's how I started getting the first client, who was a friend of mine, the second client who was a friend of mine. My third client was a person who knew someone that I wasn't really connected with. But the person who, knew me heard about my business on Facebook, and they were in conversation with someone who had several restaurants in Phoenix. And then I get an email. And it's like, it kind of just started trickling down from there.
I love that you said the low-hanging fruit, like reach out to the people that you already have an existing relationship, that they trust you, that you've, they just know your skill set, and they know that they can trust you with their baby, right? Because essentially your business is your baby. Mm-hmm. And I will say, I want to bring this up because I think as a small business owner myself, as someone who's just gotten started and actually is in the the infancy stages, right, of the business. I started about a year ago, and I really was working through what my exact target was. So at that point, like in the stage of the business, I thought it was something, but then I realized later that there were other plans for me, and there was another sort of journey that I was meant to be taking with my business. So I kind of had to pivot, right? Which is amazing and has been amazing since January. But it's like when you are in this place in your business where you're just getting started, it can feel very daunting to even reach out to people that and talk about your business, to give them insights on what you're doing and how you plan to do it, and how like if they know anyone, how you could connect with their people, right? And I think sometimes those conversations, even with people and love, are super difficult. Like, how did you navigate that? Like, I think about that sometimes, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to my friends about my business, and that I got to get over that, right? Like, but how did you do it?
I like to say that every time I find myself there where I'm like, I'm scared to do this, but I know it needs to get done, I tell myself the following: in order to learn how to swim, you have to jump in the pool. Otherwise, you're just looking at the pool and everybody else swimming and having a good time, and and you're just sitting there looking at the splash and the water, and you have to jump in the pool. That feeling of, I don't really know what I just talked about. I kind of went around in circles with my friend, telling her about my business and if she could recommend me. That is part of the process. It's supposed to
I'm so glad you said that.
It's supposed to look
messy.
It's supposed to look like a hot mess because you haven't done it before.
Right, that's right.
We're so used to so for me, right, after working for company after company after company of all sizes, I worked in gaming, I worked in hospitality, I worked in product manufacturing, I worked in so for me, I only knew how to sell myself to become the employee, right? I can do the job as an employee. This was a little different. And I had already done a little bit of this as a freelancer, because I always had something on the side. Even as when I had a full-time job, I always had something on the side going for me. So I had already kind of dabbled in that, but not to this extent, right? Where I have to move all the pieces and wear all the hats. But it's supposed to look scary, and it's supposed to feel messy. And if it doesn't, I don't know that you're doing a hard enough job at it.
Right.
The first person you talk to about your business, that conversation is going to look a lot different than the 100th person you talk to about your business.
I'm so glad you said that too, because I remember like a year ago when I was talking about my business, and there's a lot of uncertainty, lack of clarity, all this stuff, right? And things start to sort of, become clearer as you move on your journey. And now for me, like now I know exactly what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. But 6 months ago, there was fog. There was like, what is the exact roadmap here? You know, and sometimes it's just the time and the conversations with all of the people where it's messy, and they think you're doing one thing, but you're not doing that thing. And then eventually you get to the point where it's like, hey, remember I talked to you 6 months ago? This is actually what I meant then, but I wasn't quite there on that journey yet. And it's so cool to go through that process, because growth is really fucking uncomfortable. Yes, it really is. It's and if you are not uncomfortable, you are not growing, because you're not breaking through any of your, you know, barriers or fears or things that are allowing you to spread your wings, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So was there a particular aha moment when you realized, okay, all right, like, I've been doing this now, and I've been having success, and I've proven myself out to myself, because everybody else doesn't matter. It's just like, what am I proving to myself? And I actually know now that, like, this is a definite thing for me, and I'm going to level up, and I'm going to go big.
What was that aha moment? I think that aha moment came in phases. Some of it came from my clients, who were quite literally telling me, you know, I've never had this level of support before. I thought marketing was one thing. You have introduced me to a whole nother, you know, way of looking at this. So some of it came from my clients. Some of it came from, you know, within. There are things that I said yes to when I started out that I am no longer willing to say yes to anymore, even if I enjoy it. And so I think it came in phases, and some of it came also through just hardship. Finding myself in a position of, do I let this client go because they're just not a good fit? And what does that look like on the other side, right? Because then you have to replace that income from that client with another client. And so I don't think it was like one thing or one conversation that did it. It was a culmination of different things that have been going on.
That's really interesting. Usually, I love that you said a culmination, because a lot of times people will be like, it was this moment. When this happened, that was it for me, when I knew. But I love that you were like, no, it's actually just a multitude of things that sort of just were like piecing themselves together, and sort of it became clear. That's really cool. So as you decide to go big with your business, what would you say is the difference between, like, okay, the kind of goal you would have had a year ago versus the kind of goal you have now for your business? Like, I don't know, maybe it's like the kind of project you take on now versus the kind of project that you took on then. And like,
there are two things that I feel I'm getting more comfortable with when it comes to setting those goals. What do those goals look like on paper? Now I am attaching a revenue, a number, money to my goal. In the beginning, I said to myself a lot, and people who know me can vouch for me, don't lead with the money. Lead with what moves you. That was kind of like my motto, right? And I did lead with what moved me. If a project sounded exciting, if I met a person and I just vibed with that person, even if the money didn't make sense, if the math wasn't mathing, I would say yes. And I would go above and beyond and do all the things. I'm in a place now where I've been in marketing for 10 years. I have a master's degree. I've helped over 30 businesses really level up their not only level up, but also save them money, because they were out there spending money on everything but a plan.
Yeah.
They were hiring photography, videography, logo, rebranding, a website, and no plan, no game plan as to how we're going to support the business with the marketing. And now I'm in a place where I don't want to say yes to everything, even if it feels good, even if it sounds fun. If the money is not there, which is what pays the bills, which is what keeps the lights on, which is that keeps the business going, then the answer is no. It's a straight up no. So I'm attaching money to my goals, a number. I want to hit this number in 2024. And then also to the people that I meet, not everyone is a good fit. Even if they're a good person. Yeah. Even if they're a good person, not everyone is a good fit. Not everyone gets what you do. And that is 100% okay. I have a lot of people who come to me asking for social media help, and their business is up in flames. They have no idea where the next dollar is going to come from, and they want to spend on creating content for social media. That's not going to solve your business problems. Good marketing does not solve a bad business, does not save a bad business. And so that's where I'm at now.
So what would you recommend for those people out there that have not really figured out or are, say, for example, like I agree with you about social media, by the way, fully, wholeheartedly. Why are you spending on an influencer when you don't even have any type of other sets of structures in place, right? Like, what is it you're selling, and is anybody already buying it from you? Also, right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, who are your clients if you're not on social media, right? Like, and like you said, the low-hanging fruit, because that's the first place anybody should go. And I love that you said that early on, because I actually haven't even gone there. I haven't tapped into the people I know to ask them to recommend me for specific things. Now, granted, it was a little bit of a different thing because I was on a journey of figuring out exactly what I wanted to do, right? But I can tell you I ran a business when I was 23, 24, 25 years old, and that business was successful. I had a women's plus size clothing line. It was in 36 stores in the US and Canada, and it was in the very first full figured fashion week in New York. So I did well. I know how it works. But when you are in a foggy place, man, I mean, sometimes even if you know business, nothing's shaking the shit out of you, you know, to like be like, okay, this is what I need to do. These are people. I've reached out to my friends at that time. Like at that time, I was like sending out the email like, hey, and calling, and whoever would talk to me about my clothes, who knew their aunt or their sister who was wearing size 12 and up, I am where you need to buy your clothes, you know, and that's it, you know. And so people trusted my brand after coming in and doing fit and trying and you know, also a certain amount of, like you said, gifting to people that were voices in the community. Like I definitely eventually did work with influencers in the plus size community, and I was published and all of those things, but not before I talked to the people that I knew. Yes. And had conversations with them about what I was doing. So I can definitely connect with what you were saying there. And if the marketing isn't going to solve the bad business. So you have to make intelligent decisions along the journey, right? Like about when does somebody reach out to someone like you? Like at what point in the journey is it that you're the best person to talk to? Like that's what I want to know right now.
Unfortunately, people reach out to me by the time they've already invested valuable resources, including time, money, sweat, and tears, working with a social media manager, working with influencers, paid influencers, working, running ads. I have a lot of people who come to me and they're like, I've spent $3,000 a month on ads. I'm getting the click-throughs to my website, but I'm not seeing conversions, right? I'm not getting clients. Okay, that's a sign of a lack of a plan. So you reach out to me at about the time when you have tried pretty much everything and anything you can think of, and it's starting to feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall and nothing is sticking. Or the things that are sticking, you're not sure if they are the things that are driving results. When it comes to sales, sales and marketing go hand in hand all the time. And we've reached a point, especially with social media, as much as that's the space that I work in. I love social media, but it has caused a lot of disruption in industries, and it has contributed to a lot of noise. And we're in a place now where people are more interested in building up a following on social media than building up their email list or directing traffic to their website.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that about the email list.
The email list. And so the email list is the equivalent of the people you know, right? The people that are going to stay on that email list want to hear from you. It's like your friends. You're not going to call up the friends that, you know, you've lost touch with. You're going to reach out to the people who you know if you have something exciting to share. The same goes for your email list. That's the equivalent of an email list, right? You send out an email to let them know, I'm having an event, I'm putting together a retreat. You know, do you want to be in the know? And so people want to skip that step, those steps, because it's not sexy. It's
oh my
not
God.
sexy.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? Because I got to
Please.
just tell you about this email list. Okay. So I cannot stand emails. I lose my mind over them. Like my inbox is like 20,000 like junk mail. Like, and I am just like, I refused on principle for a very long time to build an email list because I'm not going to be that person that emails. So slowly, like maybe 3 months ago, I realized, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I do that? Because I refuse to open Nike's email or, you know, whatever person is hounding me. Their email is not the same email I'm sending.
No.
I'm not. I'm sending, my email that I'm sending is actually a personal update on my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like my email that's going out to my newsletter this week, which by the way, sign up at themotherdrive.com, is actually a literally like me like saying, hey, like my kids had the flu this week. I'm really sorry. I'm late with this email. Like, you know, but I know you get it because you're on my email list and you're a mom and you've definitely had sick kids. So like you understand the complete shit show that your life turns into when all of the children in the house are sick.
Right.
Like that is just like sleepless. It's painful for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's just like nothing is getting done. It's chaos. Everyone's home from daycare, school, whatever, you know, the place is just on wheels.
Yeah, and those are the emails that I open up too, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm on someone's email list who, she's a little bit of a firecracker, and I get a kick out of opening up this woman's email. She's has multiple businesses, and it's someone who I want to learn from. It's someone who I respect. I open up those emails, but you know, then there's also too like the Nikes of the world, like those big companies. Like you might not open up their email, but they're sending out emails because it's still working. So,
right, and you're not wrong about that.
You know what I mean? And so if you were shopping for new Nike sneakers for your kid, you might open up the email to see if there's a coupon in there for you. So that's why it works. But email's just one piece of the puzzle. You reach out to me when you feel like I've tried it all. I'm tired of guessing. And the thing that I find interesting is people understand the concept of building a business plan for the business. How am I going to bring in money? Who am I going to sell to? But they don't create the marketing plan that supports the business plan.
Correct.
And that's where we're getting it wrong.
Correct. And people decide that marketing is the thing they're not going to spend money on when it comes to paying someone to help support the process and building of the plan.
Yes.
And they think, and actually, from my perspective, as someone who is starting a business right now and that's in its early stages, I actually believe that one of the most valuable things that I could do is hire someone who can help with the plan of the marketing.
Right.
That is like, because I'm not a marketing expert. That's not what I'm doing. Like, but someone else is who has that skill set, like yourself, right? Who can say, hey, actually, like, this is what we need to do. And here's the plan for the next 6 months. And this is the kind of content that your audience needs to hear.
Yes.
And forget this buying influencers. That's a waste of money. Maybe you need to, I don't know, get certain, like you said, like the hat situation or something, and you need to be sending little freebies out to people. Or what is your sort of hook? And it needs to come from an expert, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
You need to figure it out, because otherwise the business has no real plan. It may have a plan, but it's the plan to actually deliver what the business is not there, right?
Right. That's to me is like the equivalent of that saying, build it and they'll come.
Mm-hmm.
That used to work when we didn't have as many options, but it no longer is the case.
Mm-mm.
Build it and they'll come no longer works. They say that it's not the best product, it's not the best restaurant, it's the one that is the most known, and that's where marketing comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Being the loudest, the boldest, the most innovative about how you talk about your business and your brand, and how you create content that connects to the people that you want to attract.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So let's talk about, I just want to bring this piece of it really quickly about the difficult conversation. So like, you have to let clients go that are existing. Just rewinding back that for a second, like, what does a difficult conversation look like with a client? Like, how do you let them down easy when you say, hey, listen, like, I'm just not in your budget anymore, basically. Like, I'm raising my prices and this is what I have to do, or we're just not a good fit? Or how did you say that nicely to people? Like, how do you do that? Because I know that there are mothers out there that have their business that are like super, like, I think we as women, we want to sort of be gentle and thoughtful and careful with people's feelings, where men are a little bit more like, yeah, that's my price and that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. Well, you asked me, how do you say that nicely? You don't say that nicely. You say that firmly. You know, the way that I had the conversation with the client that I have in mind, a company that I was really fortunate to work with. They had multiple locations spread out over 2 states, multiple restaurants, and they gave me the opportunity when they could have hired anybody else. So someone that I not feel indebted to, but that, I'm fond of them. Like, I really do like them as people. But the math wasn't mathing anymore. It wasn't making sense to provide the service that I was providing. So I presented them with the opportunity to upgrade to the next package.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm raising my rates, and this is what I'm paying. And I was honest with them too, because I had that relationship with them. This is what I'm paying the person that is going out to create content at your restaurant. This is what it's costing me to do that. And this is what I end up keeping. And it's just not making sense anymore. And no different than, what they have to deal with when it comes to profit margins, right? They have to figure it out on their end
with
too.
their food and all this.
With their food and
supplies.
the rising cost of produce and labor. So I had that conversation with them as people.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I would be happy to continue to serve you and continue this relationship of almost 3 years. This is what that investment looks like. They were like, we would love to be able to work with you and continue the relationship. We'll come back to you in the future if that makes sense for us. And right now I see their socials and everything seems to be paused. And that's fair, because, if they don't have it in their budget, they don't have it in their budget.
Yeah, I mean, they're dealing with their own stuff on their side that
Yes.
they're contending with, like you said, rising prices of this and that.
Yes.
And so that's not always leaving the margin
Yes.
to invest. And so I totally get that. But you're right. Firmly, not necessarily nicely. Okay, so I know you mentioned about being operating as a fractional CMO for business owners. I love this. I love this for you, because I love this idea for myself, obviously in the future for my business, because you end up wearing all the hats and like nothing ends up really happening very like when you're wearing all the hats, you're not doing anything excellent, So I think that what I want to understand is, when did you realize how valuable this offering was for people? Like, was it your clients that were like, hey, we need a fractional CMO? Or were you like, I'm recognizing a trend in what people are asking of me, and that looks like it should be called a fractional CMO, and let me offer that?
Yeah, it was a combination. A very good client of mine who sent me business, a lot of good business, actually said to me, you have gone above and beyond, and there's still this piece that I need that you don't offer. And he was like, if you want to get to that level that I know you want to get to, it's going to require you expanding a little bit and hiring and outsourcing more help. And I was already kind of there, right? I was working with someone that was going out to the businesses and shooting the content, so I don't have to shoot the content and I can focus on the strategy and the plan and making sure that execution is going well. But even further, he was challenging me to step it even up, to step it up even more. And at that point, I decided, okay, I need to partner with someone who is a web developer. And I did. I need to partner with someone who's in branding. And that's what I started doing. And people ask me, are you an agency? I am not. You have no idea. I've worked in agency. You have no idea what, for a small business, that probably is never going to be realistic. We're talking, $10,000, $20,000 a month retainers to work with an agency, right? There's a lot of overhead there. And so that's not my goal. I come somewhere in the middle between a social media manager and an agency. I am the marketing consultant that you can pull in and out throughout the year. You don't have to have me on 12 months out of the year. You pull me in and out when you are looking for clarity, when you are looking to maybe cut costs, but you're not sure exactly where in terms of marketing. And so I come in as a marketing consultant and I don't touch anything. You just get to tap into my expertise. But then as a CFO, as a marketing, as a fractional CMO, I come in and actually support a lot of the implementation too. I help you execute. And that is where someone who has maybe been in business for 3 to 4 years and they have worn all the hats, they have maybe gone through several social media managers and they're just not seeing the results. That's a sign of you need advanced support. You need someone who's been in this for years, and that person's goal is not let's go viral. That person's goal is let's create a marketing plan. Let's put in very strategic efforts and focus on supporting the business goals. And so that also too, we look at data, analytics, right? Are we driving the needle in the right direction? Are we looking at website traffic, sales? So try having that conversation with a social media manager.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you, I'm a social media manager. I'm not your sales. And they're not. They're not supposed to do your sales, but your marketing plan and all the efforts you put into, they are supposed to have a return on investment and ROI.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's really great. I love this fractional CMO. So tell me what excites you most about your business for this coming year. Is there anything you are launching that you're super pumped about? Like, tell me.
I would say for sure, putting that fractional CMO hat, fractional chief marketing officer, feels really good. The last job that I had in corporate, I built a team of 7 people. We were doing launch campaign after launch campaign. It was exhausting, but it really did prepare me for what I'm doing now, right? Because I can say to the person who has a very small budget, who's working with minimum resources, I can say to that person, let's get creative and let's put together an influencer marketing campaign, but let's really focus on these 4 or 5 foodie influencers, if you're a restaurant, that are going to help us get the word out in this one zip code. And so being able to build out a team and being able to tap into copywriting, web, email marketing, it did give me that broad, right, overview, top down experience that I needed to be able to lead a team. Has prepared me now to be able to pull in resources where I need to and outsource the things that I'm not great at because I'm not an all-in-one. It prepared me for this. I don't love the idea of managing other people. I like working with people who manage themselves really well, and I just kind of pull them in and out as needed. So I'm excited for this fractional CMO role.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear that, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out with your clients. So what would you say to any mom out there who's an entrepreneur that's starting to move in the direction of leveling her business up?
Yes. Find it in your budget to hire a bookkeeper, a really good one. And when you can, upgrade to a fractional CFO. That's another role that's out there that not a lot of people take advantage of. Sometimes you hit a point in your business where just bookkeeping is not enough.
Do you have someone who's a fractional?
I do. I have someone who helped me go from, the way we took my business from where it was to like, I didn't even imagine that we would be where we are now. Someone who was talking to me about like, Nadya, we need to build reserves for taxes. We need to build reserves for slow season. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm in a place where, because I transitioned, I am tapping into those reserves. I am tapping into the reserves that this fractional CFO helped me build out for taxes, for slow seasons, for phases where you're making changes in the business, so the profit is going to reflect those changes. So yes, work with a bookkeeper if that's all you can afford and have your books in order. I waited too long to work with one, and when you can, upgrade to a fractional CFO. You don't need a full-time employee, right? But you do need someone who's going to look beyond the profit and loss statement. Someone who's going to talk to you about exactly what my fractional CFO was in my ear about. When are we going to prepare for taxes and for slow seasons? And also too, like, that person supports me with, okay, what services are bringing in the most money, and what services are bringing in the most money but also are costing us too much to provide. So that person's also going to help you minimize risk and strategize when it comes to profit and revenue and cash flow in general.
That's awesome advice. Okay, is there any I was going to ask about the difficult conversations, but we've already spoken about that at length. So I think this is a good one. What are 3 things that like really inspired you along the way? Maybe they're like, it's like a podcast and a particular book or what have you.
You know what? Instead of giving you 3 things, I'll give you the one thing that has been working for me. I'll say, lean on the people who you already know and who you feel, after having a conversation with that person, you feel lighter on the other side of that conversation, whether it's a call or you're meeting for coffee or you're spending time with them. Lean on those people. You're going to need them to keep your head up, because they know you and they know your track record. They know what you've been through. They know the ups and downs. A lot of people that I meet now, they're like, I love that you have your own business. And I look at them like, I like it too, but some people think that idea is a lot funner than it really is. It's hard stuff. And I don't know that I was ready for it. But here we are. And so lean on the people who know where you've been and what it's taken to get here. But also, I heard this somewhere, I can't remember where it was, but when I find someone online, I look up to people like Amy Porterfield, Ellen Yin, CEO of Cubicle to CEO. I listen to those podcasts, and Ellen Yin, I've had the opportunity of actually having coffee with her in person. But I look at those people and I think of them as my mentors. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm not in a place where I can actually sit in front of Amy Porterfield or tap into Ellen Yin anytime I want and have her coach me, right, to be the marketer that I want to be. But the podcasts and the books and the programs, invest in those things, time, energy, and money, and start to see them as mentors, because they really are pouring into the you that you are today to become the you that you want to be in the future. So lean into the people that know you personally, and then also start to follow the people that are where you want to go, and really see them as mentors, and what they say, apply it. A lot of what we hear, we're like, that's so good, but it takes us way too long to actually implement it in our lives. So when you think of those people as mentors, I feel like the insights that they share, we take them a little bit more to heart and actually do something with it. So
that's right. I can say that personally, I do a lot of my own personal mindset and growth work myself, but I consume so much, I would say, just education in general via podcasts, books, and all of those things. people are putting that out there because they are good at what they do and they are giving back. And because we can't speak to them in person and whatever, this is just their way to deliver their messages at scale, right?
Yes.
To help us uplift ourselves. And so they don't have to be in the room with you. They are a mentor. And the more that you are able to, like you said, execute, follow their advice, then the faster you're going to see yourself change.
Yes.
But it's the discipline and consistency of
Yes.
that, implementing that advice regularly. So this one's a fun one. I always ask this to everyone. What is the best piece of advice you've ever gotten on motherhood?
It doesn't get easier as they grow up. It just looks different. And sometimes different means harder. Sometimes mean it's easier. It depends where you are in life. But knowing that it's going to look different and just reminding yourself of that also takes away some of the pressure of like, it doesn't look like this for me, but it looks like this for everyone else. It's just different. You know, my kid is my kid. And, you know, I have a sister who has twins, and they look very much, they do a lot of things alike, but at the core, if you spend a lot of time with them, you realize they are very different people. So imagine, I get a lot of looks because when we go out in public, my son and I, because my son is very outgoing. He says hi to everyone. He lets it be known that he's in the room. I am not that person. We're very different people. And so I get a lot of looks, and I'm no longer embarrassed by who my kid is. That makes him who he is. And I just tell myself, you know what? Maybe growing up for them, it looked different, and they had to sit in a chair and not speak and not be heard. And that's them, but that's not me. I'm not that mom, and he's not that kid. And so now that he's 5, it looks different than it did when he was 2. So that's the best piece of advice. It doesn't get easier. Doesn't necessarily get harder either. It's just different as they grow up and as you evolve too as a woman.
Yeah, they're kind of like, it's just fluid. They're just always changing, and we're always changing too. So the journey everything's just iterating all the time. And that's really interesting. Kids are just, they surprise you every day. And even though he's super outgoing now, I mean, you may see him at 10 and he may be the shyest kid in the room. You just never know. They're unpredictable. They're totally unpredictable. And you can't predict necessarily, like you said, it's just different all the time. Every kid is different, and they go through all these different phases. So it's just never going to be the same. You can't just say, oh yeah, well, he was like this when he was 3, so that means he's going to end up like this. No, that's not. Just let go of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. He's going to be different people throughout the course of his life, and you're going to be different mom over the course of time. And that's a really cool piece of advice. I've never heard that one. I like it. Well, that is a wrap, and thank you so much for sitting with me and taking the time to chat. One thing is, I want to know, where can our listeners find you? So if you could just share your social media.
Sure. I'm very active on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I know Facebook is still like, people are like, are you still using Facebook? You'd be surprised.
Yes.
How many good paying clients are on Facebook.
That's right. You're right.
So, and LinkedIn too, another one that's not super sexy. Everyone is hanging out on Instagram, and you know, that's another thing too about where your people hang out. Now that I'm putting on this fractional CMO role, the people that I need to attract are the people who aren't spending that much time scrolling on Instagram, right? Like, they are spending more time running their businesses. And so that's another piece of advice too. Find your people where they are, not where you enjoy hanging out. LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram is the best place to find me at Nadya Ramos, Nadya Ramos.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone. Until next time.